Good morning, students. In the last class, we were going through this chapter and we learned about various important details about Humayun, and we started to learn about Sher Suri, where we studied as to how in the Battle of Kannauj he took over the throne of the Delhi and became the ruler who established the Afghan rule in India in about 1540. Now let us study about the early life of Sher Shah. Now Sher Shah was the son of Hassan Khan, a Jagirdar of Sasaram in Bihar, and he was named as Farid Khan. He was given the title of Sher Khan. Why? Because it is said that when he was quite young, he had single-handedly captured or killed a tiger, and that is why after that incident only he was given a name of Sher Khan. In his earlier times, it is said that he joined the Mughal army under Babur and helped Babur in various different warfares and different administrative activities. Now, during his time being in Mughal army, he learned various techniques of warfare under the Mughal Empire. And later on, when there was political instability itself in the Mughal Empire, after the death of Babur and other significant conditions that started prevailing, Sher Khan took an advantage of it and established his own authority in Bihar and Bengal. Now, when after he established his own rule or independent kingdom in Bihar and Bengal, Sher Shah was totally determined that in certain period of time he will take over the throne of Delhi from the Mughals. So he started preparing and re-establishing himself. Okay, and it was a time when he faced Humayun in two important battles, that is Battle of Chausa and Battle of Kannauj. After the Battle of Kannauj, when the Mughal army under the leadership of Humayun was totally eradicated or defeated, he took over the throne of Delhi and became the king and established the Afghan rule in India for the first time in 1540 Common Era, that is CE. Now it was between 1540 and 45 that it is said that he ruled the empire. Now he conquered various important places such as Malwa, Rajputana places, Multan, Sindh and Punjab, and took them under his control. He even seized Kalinjar in 1545, but later on, when he was in war, it is said that due to a gunpowder explosion, he lost his life. And his short period of reign, a brilliant 5 years reign, that is from 1540 and 45, when after he became 1540, when he actually became the ruler of Delhi, that is most of the part were controlled by Sher Shah. After a 5 years term period, it was seen that he died of gun explosion. That was in one of the wars that took place. Now, within 10 years of Sher Shah's death, it was said that later on, in about 1555, after Sher Shah died in 1545, after 10 years of that is 1555, Humayun again returned back and recaptured Delhi and again established the Mughal Empire. So this is a short life story brief about Sher Shah Suri. Now let us go through the administrative system as to how administrative system was established and how it was controlled and how it was taken. Now it is said that Sher Shah Suri was a very brilliant administrator and he developed a very good sense of military and civil workings, because earlier he already had worked, as I told you, he already had worked under the Mughals and learned various important techniques of administrative system and various important workings of the military system. So he had that basic fulfilled ideas about it. He most probably believed in a principle where he followed a system of welfare state. Now what is welfare state? Welfare state where people, they commonly understand the problems of the people, and according to the understanding of the people, requirement of the people, the workings are being done. Okay. Excuse me. Now the central administration, as we have discussed little bit about it. Now let me again go brief to it. There are various ministers that were appointed at different labels, and they had spice. He also appointed spy system. Now the provincial administration was divided into various parts, like districts were there. Then we have first of all sarkars, which were the open provinces. The whole country was divided into province, or his whole empire was divided into province or sarkar. Then the sarkar was divided into districts. Then the district was divided into village. And there were various important officers like Sikdare, Sikdaran, Munsife, Munsifan, as I discussed, who took care of different orderly manners of their workings. And each of these officers were given certain important powers. But one thing he always kept in mind: to avoid corruption, what he used to do? He used to shift or change the positions of the people from one place to another in every interval of time. That is, transferring one officers to other place and again retransferring to some other place. And they exchanged their offices. Now the panchayat was looked by the elderly people of the village, and also there was a village officer that was appointed by the king, who was known as Muqaddam. Then we studied about the military organization, where we understood as to the importance that Sirsa established a large standing army and introduced measures to disciplined, effective and strong. Standing army was adopted by him. Then his personal interest of appointing and training of soldiers were also taken care. Salaries of the soldiers were given in a fixed number according to their skills and ability and the position that they held. Then Alauddin's system of branding of horses and maintaining a descriptive role of the soldiers were also again revived by Sher Shah Suri. That is, he adopted this policy of Alauddin Khilji. And the army was divided into various small units, into different groups, and each of these groups were under a particular efficient commander. Now garrison was kind of building, or a top building, which was built in the empire. And what was this? These were the places where the soldiers used to go there, climb there on the top, and take a look or take care from there on the top to every part of the cities or every part of the empire which is surroundingly there. Now cavalry and infantry were highly trained and disciplined and were equipped with artilleries and modern equipments during that time. Okay, but whatever modern equipments were there during the time, that were been occupied by him. What was the communication system? That is road and other things. There are various important things that were promoted by Sher Shah. One of the very important road that he had constructed during his time was the Grand Trunk Road, which was the longest and the most important of 4 major roads which connected various parts of Indian territories, Bangladesh, and which moved towards Peshawar, that is now in Pakistan. There were trees that were being made in the roads on the both sides, so that shades will be provided to the travelers. Then salaries were given. Rest houses were being made for people who travelled, and in every individual distance places, rest houses were made for regular interval of resting places for people, merchants or travellers who came from other places. Then there were sarais, that is post houses, that is, you can call it as post offices kind of, where important letter systems or communication system was done by him. Now trade and commerce. Now as there were construction of road and sarais been made, it helped the traders and merchants to have a good trade and communication system with the Afghan rule during that time under Sher Shah. Then the traders boost their duties except 2 were abolished. Now to increase the trade, there were certain taxes also that was been removed by Sher Shah. The first duty was levied when goods were bought into the country, and the second was levied when the goods were sold. So buying and selling only were the taxes that were adopted. Now Sher Shah instructed his officers to treat merchants well and look after their interest. Now whoever merchants came to their state, they were to be taken care properly. That was the special instruction given by Sher Shah. Now the zamindars and village headmen were made responsible for the safety and lives and property of traders in their respective regions. Now new weights and measures were adopted. Coins of silver, gold and copper was the actual form of trading, and that is the time the silver coin that was issued by Sher Khan was called as rupiah. So you can call now rupees that we use now, the term rupees, you can consider that it was actually propounded, or it was a concept, you can say, that was done earlier long back by Sher Shah, where he called silver coins as rupiah. Sher Shah was a staunch believer in justice, everyone treated equally, and he was not harsh at all. He believed in his self-respect of human beings, and there were various village headmen and local chiefs who were made responsible, who were given various important responsibilities, that everybody should be taken care, the citizens should be taken care. The forms and punishments that were given to robbers and murderers were very high and ruthless, so that it would be effective and the people will be afraid there not to do it again. Revenue, whatever was achieved by Sher Shah was the revenue system that he brought about was all existing, which was there in the previous system, where agricultural product were there, where taxes that were collected, that is during buying and selling, was the actual form of his revenue collections. Now land assessment, there were various system of calculating land when he used to collect revenues. Now the land was carefully surveyed and measured every year. Survey was done, means good look was done into the regarding to the lands. The average produce was calculated on the basis of fertility, how the fertility of the land, and according to that the product was calculated. 1/3 of the product, whatever they produce, was given as a tax. The land was divided into 3 types: good, bad and middle. Why it was divided? So that when the tax is collected, according to that only there can be assessment can be made, and then a leniency can be done if the crops has gone bad, or the crops or the land is not good and the crops has become failure. Okay, now even loans were provided, and the crops which were damaged during wars and other activities were again replaced by the during the time of Sher Shah. Now Jagir system was discouraged during his time, that is patta, that is title deed, okay, was discouraged, and the system of patta was introduced, that is title deed was introduced, whereas there was an agreement introduced between the two parties, that is the farmer and the officer, where an agreement was signed that both of them will, if I agree, that is kabuliyat. What is kabuliyat? An agreement that was introduced, that one term was patta, another was kabuliyat. Patta was regarding the title deed, that is the agreement paper, okay, and kabuliyat nama was the agreement that was made between the farmers. Now what was that? It was a mutual understanding between the farmer and the officers. The farmers gave rights to the other person to collect taxes and duties by the peasants, by the government officials. Now the condition of peasant improved, cultivation increased, and the royal treasury was assured with steady and regular flow of funds. There were regular flow of funds and all. So these remarkable changes and activities that were brought about by Sher Shah states how responsible he was, how prominent where he was, and was how remarkable ruler he was when he came up into the rule and started the Afghan rule in India. So this is all about this chapter, which states about various important rulers of the Mughal Empire and during the Mughal period. Later on, again, as we know that after 10 years of the death of Sher Shah, again you have Humayun coming back and taking back his own capital or the own state. In the next class, we are going to again go through the other kings of the Mughal Empire and understand more about few of the other aspects. And in the next chapter, we are going to learn about chapter number 9, which is talking about the next Mughal ruler whose name was Akbar. So this is all for today. Have a good day and study well and prepare for your examination properly. Thank you very much.